My name is William, and today I wish to disclose a secret that my wife Sophia embedded in the narrative of our marriage, which I never anticipated. We have been in a relationship for 5 years, and from the outset, our affection has consistently been profound and intense. We both thought that we were the perfect couple ready to face any challenge. But time has gradually shown that life is not always as peaceful as expected. 5 years have passed, and there is one thing that makes both of us feel heavy pressure. We still do not have children. When we first got married, we used to paint a picture of a house filled with children's laughter, who are the crystallization of our love. However, gradually, those expectations have faded into a quiet void, and many times I have seen the disappointment in Sophia's eyes. Perhaps for her, this was the deepest pain in her life, a sadness that even I, her husband, found difficult to fully understand at first. Sophia was a gentle woman who always knew how to nurture a family. She was attentive in every little thing and always took care of me, creating a warm family atmosphere that I deeply appreciated. But as time passed along with the unsuccessful effort to have children, Sophia gradually changed. She became hot-tempered, irritable, and somewhat rude, manifestations that I had never seen in her before. Even the smallest thing could trigger her temper. I knew Sophia was suffering from deep pain, but that change made me worried and restless. Things became more serious when Sophia started drinking with friends, something she had never done before. She often went out in the evening, met and drank with friends. And every time she came home, Chloe was drunk, staggering into the house. There were days when I had to help her into bed and change her clothes. That rare of alcohol, though I didn't say it. I sensed that the psychological burden of not having children had taken her off course. We went to the hospital for a fertility check, and the results were not as expected. The doctor said that Sophia had health problems. Her uterus was weak and showed signs of serious damage. This made it extremely difficult for her to get pregnant as soon as she heard the news. Chloe completely collapsed. She silently bowed her head. Her eyes seemed to fall into the void, as if the world before her had just collapsed. I understood that Sophia felt guilty towards me, thinking that she was the reason why we could not have a complete family. Perhaps in her heart, she was haunted by the fear that I would leave her to find another woman, someone who could give me a child. Although I had repeatedly affirmed that children were not the only thing that kept us together, and that my love for her did not depend on having children or not, I knew that Sophia would have a hard time believing that when she was always tormenting herself, late at night when she came home drunk and fell asleep on the bed, I sat beside her, watching her sleep, unable to help but feel sorry for her. I recognized her disorientation and her battle with detrimental beliefs, believing she had diminished in worth inside my life. At times, she sighed, and at other moments, she wept upon witnessing joyful families with children in public. Those moments left me despondent, yet I felt powerless despite my attempts to console and encourage her. I knew that no one but Sophia herself could overcome this deep pain. I once thought of taking her on a trip to relieve stress, or seeking support from psychological therapy to help her regain balance in her life. However, Sophia did not want to listen to any suggestions from me. She refused all opinions and just sank deep into her own world where she blamed herself and tormented herself in silence. Not only did it hurt her, it also left me exhausted. One evening after work, I returned home and was surprised to find the house decorated differently. Flickering candlelight illuminated the dining table, mixed with the rich aroma of a cozy dinner. Entering the house, I couldn't help but be surprised, feeling a little fluttered in my heart. wondering if there was something special waiting for me, since learning the not-so-good news about the possibility of having children, Chloe had withdrawn, paying little attention to the family atmosphere, allowing the house to gradually sink into the cold like a mirror, reflecting the inexpressible sadness. However, when she saw me enter, everything seemed to brighten up. Chloe smiled gently and invited me to sit down at the dining table. I sensed something different in her eyes. Gentleness mixed with a bit of determination, as if she was ready for something she had been thinking about for a long time. We sat across from each other under the soft candlelight, enjoying dinner in a warm, romantic atmosphere that we hadn't felt for a long time. Sophia began to say loving words, recalling sweet memories from the day we first met, about what we had experienced together. She spoke of the deep love we had for each other, of our dreams of a happy family, and of the faith she had placed in our relationship hearing those words. My heart could not help but tremble. I knew Sophia had struggled a lot. Sophia struggled to articulate these remarks because her fixation on infertility had weighed heavily on her mind. I grasped her hand firmly for an extended period. I silently assured her that my presence would endure, regardless of the circumstances. With her, through it all that night, in a space filled with love and empathy, we were close to each other, hoping to overcome our worries and pain to create the miracle we both longed for: a child. We gave each other the most genuine tenderness, believing that our love could cover up the shortcomings of our bodies and that somehow happiness would smile upon us. But time passed, and once again our hopes were dashed in the days that followed. That night, Sophia counted the days and the hours, believing that this time a miracle would happen. But then there was no sign of our wishes coming true. There was only a fearful silence, a long emptiness, a repetition of what we had endured countless times before Sophia fell into deep despair, and I could feel the deep pain she was enduring. The light in her eyes slowly faded, hope once again slipping away, tearing my heart apart. We sat next to each other, silently, in the space filled with silence, but neither of us knew what to say, because any words of comfort at this moment became meaningless in the face of such deep sadness. I could only hold her tightly, as if hoping that the hug would be able to ease some of the pain in our hearts. We tried our best and fought for this love, but sometimes some dreams are just too far. Away that night, I just sat quietly beside her, letting her lean on my shoulder, silent until the end, just listening to Sophia's sobs in the dark night one evening. As we sat together in the living room, Sophia suddenly broke the silence with a suggestion that I did not expect. Her eyes were hesitant, but her face was full of determination. She looked at me, took a deep breath, and said, "Honey, I have been thinking for a long time. Maybe we should find another way to have a child." Frown, not understanding what she was trying to imply. Sophia paused for a moment, her voice soft but filled with determination. "I have found a few people. They are willing to help us if you agree. You will do that with them to have a child. This is the only way for us to have a child without further disappointment." Her suggestion made me freeze. My whole body froze, unable to believe what I had just heard. How could Sophia have thought of such a thing? She asked me to have sex with other women while married. A feeling of disappointment and pain surged through me. My heart clenched. "No, Chloe, I can't do this." This, I stated forcefully, my eyes looking straight at her. "Do you understand that this might destroy everything we have? Our love. Don't you think about that?" I said it with force. Chloe bit her lip, her eyes starting to water, but her gaze remained firm. "William, I know this is hard, but I have no choice. Do you understand that I have to endure this pain every day? I tried my best, but my body can't. Every time I think about us never having children, my heart feels like it's going to suffocate. I can't take it anymore. This is the only way, baby. I looked at Sophia, feeling the pain in her eyes, a pain that no amount of comfort or encouragement could ease. Her fear suffered too much, and I understood that not having children was not only her own pain, but also the fear of losing the home we had worked so hard to build deep down. She feared that one day I might leave her. Because of this, I was silent, struggling between my pride and my responsibility to my family. Being with someone else just to have a child was something I had never imagined. But Sophia's eyes were pleading, filled with longing. They were the eyes of an exhausted, desperate woman, still clinging to her last ray of hope. Finally, I nodded slightly, as if in reluctant agreement. I didn't really want to do this, but I couldn't bear to let Sophia continue to suffer this pain alone. If this could really bring her happiness, then perhaps I was willing to make the trade-off soon. Chloe found 2 girls who agreed to help. I don't know where she met them or how she convinced them, and I didn't want to ask. Happened so fast, and I was caught in a spiral that was hard to define one day. Sophia told me that the 2 girls would be coming to the house that evening. That evening, when the 2 girls arrived, Chloe had prepared everything. Carefully, they were young girls with gentle appearances, both of them a bit shy when entering the house. I felt the tension in the air, and the awkwardness and embarrassment were evident in all of our eyes. Sophia welcomed them politely, inviting them into the living room, where I was waiting in a state of confusion. Sophia attempted to engage in conversation as a means of reducing the tension. She sat next to me, holding my hand. She held my hand tightly, giving me some courage. But I understood that behind her calm appearance, she was also struggling with complicated emotions and the secret pain she had been hiding for so long. Finally, that moment came. Chloe stood up and left the room, leaving me and the 2 girls in a suffocating silence. I felt like an outsider in my own life, a stranger to the room, to the people in front of me, and even to myself. Sophia's desperate gaze before she left the room held back the part of me that wanted to stand up, walk out of here, and give up on everything. One morning, Chloe received a call from one of the girls after finishing the conversation. She turned to look at her face, full of emotion, her eyes filled with tears. She's showing signs of pregnancy. Honey, my heart fluttered, both surprised and happy, partly because I couldn't believe what I had just heard, but also because I couldn't stop the sudden happiness that rose in my heart. I looked at Chloe, seeing her eyes light up with a radiant and joyous happiness that I hadn't seen in a long time. The next day, Chloe arranged for the girl to go to the hospital for a checkup. Sophia and I went with her to the clinic. We sat nervously, waiting for the results, with no one speaking. The stifling silence and the constant ticking of the second-hand clock in the waiting room seemed to last forever. When the doctor came out, he smiled and announced that the girl was indeed pregnant. At that moment, I witnessed Sophia burst into tears, causing them to roll down her cheeks. She couldn't control her emotions, hugged my hand tightly, and sobbed, both relieved and filled with happiness. She had been waiting for so long. As time passed, Sophia took care of the girl wholeheartedly, like a sister loving her little sister. She bought nutritious food, looked up all the nutritional information, and was always by her side throughout her pregnancy. They quickly grew close, and Sophia always ensured that the baby in her belly would receive the best care as the months passed. The girl's belly grew bigger and bigger, and the day of the baby's birth drew near. Chloe and I prepared everything for the baby: a small room painted in a gentle blue color, a lovely crib, and little clothes that Sophia had personally picked out. She often sat by the crib, gently caressing the items prepared for the baby, smiling with satisfaction, happiness shining in her eyes. Finally, that special day arrived. One spring morning, Chloe received a call. The girl informed us that she had started showing signs of labor, and we rushed to the hospital, filled with both excitement and anxiety. On the way to the hospital, Sophia held my hand tightly. I could feel her hand shaking with anticipation and anxiety in the hospital waiting room. We sat silently, our eyes glued to the delivery room door every time a doctor or nurse walked by, and we both tensed up. Counting the seconds and minutes, time seemed to stretch on forever, but then a cry of birth rang out from inside a small but vital saw. Chloe burst into tears of joy streaming down her face. We both stood up when the doctor came out smiling and announcing that we had a healthy baby boy. Chloe couldn't wait another moment. She ran into the room where the girl was lying on the bed, holding the newborn baby in her arms. The girl handed the baby to Sophia, and Sophia's eyes lit up with an unprecedented happiness. She held the baby as if cherishing a precious moment for which she had waited her entire life. The little boy was petite with a chubby and adorable face. His clear eyes, looking at the world around him in wonder, Sophia gently held him in her arms. Her eyes full of affection, she gently stroked his soft cheeks, whispering in a sweet voice, "Hello, my dear mom, and Dad has been waiting for you for a long time." I stood beside him, silently, watching Chloe holding the baby in her arms, my heart filled with indescribable emotions. This child was the dream we had longed for so long, a testament to the efforts and sacrifices we had made together. From that moment, I knew that our lives would change forever. Sophia gave the baby all her love and care from the very first day. She took care of the baby with deep love and sacrifice, as if to make up for the difficult days that had passed. The baby had become the hope, joy, and new vitality of our small home, and every day when I see Sophia's happy eyes as she holds her baby in her arms, I feel the resilience and unconditional love of a woman I will always cherish. With the arrival of the child, the conflicts and contradictions that had been simmering between Chloe and me seemed to gradually disappear. The child we had longed for came to us, bringing with it a new wave of hope and happiness, which seemed to have been worn away over the years of hardship for Sophia the child, was a salvation, a consolation for the deep pain she had endured. She devoted all her love and time to the child, caring for each moment with sincere love. I saw her as a different person, a gentle, sacrificial, and loving mother. However, deep down, I could not help but have mixed feelings about the decision we had made. To having this child was not an easy one, and sometimes I wondered if we had really made the right choice in taking that. The child was an integral part of my life. However, the way the child came into our lives left me with a multitude of worries, a burden of thought that will likely follow me for the rest of my life. As for the girl who gave birth to the child after fulfilling her duty, she gradually moved away from our lives. Sophia arranged everything for her, ensuring that she would have a stable future. The girl left quietly, leaving behind nothing but a healthy and happy child. Sometimes I think about her, filled with gratitude for her sacrifice and courage, but also wondering if she felt any regret for leaving this child to us. Through all that I have been through, I have realized that love is sometimes not simple or easy in the most difficult moments. We have had to face choices and trade-offs, that no one could have imagined things did not go as expected, and to achieve happiness, sometimes one has to go through challenging paths. The child has brought joy and meaning to our lives, but the journey to get here is also a trade-off that we will remember forever. Most importantly, I understood that love is not just about sweet moments or promises of true love, or the ability to stand by each other and endure and overcome the challenge of life's challenges throws at us. Even at the cost of some of our dignity and peace, I learned to understand Sophia better and accept that we are not always perfect, and not every decision is completely right. But the only thing I know for sure is that we always try our best for each other. Our life continues with the joy and laughter of our child. Although the journey to have a child was not easy, although the burden of not knowing having a child has been lifted, I know this experience will always be a mark in our lives. Will we be content forever, or will we face another challenge? I am not sure, but what I do know is that we have come a long way, and now our family has a new beginning with a new baby. A new hope in this home. This child will grow up without knowing the sacrifices and challenges we have gone through to have him. But perhaps just seeing his smile every day, our torment and pain will gradually be soothed despite everything I promise myself to do everything, so that this child can grow up happily mature in love and peace in marriage and family life. Things do not always go smoothly or as expected. The most important thing is understanding, listening, and accompanying, especially in difficult times when faced with challenges. It is easy to lose direction and get caught up in pressure, leading to decisions that may leave us regretful. My advice is to always stay calm and sober, be open to sharing and seeking support from loved ones or experts if needed, and not make decisions when your emotions are not balanced, because that can lead to unwanted consequences. Above all, remember that true love is not only about sweet moments, but also requires patience, sacrifice, and tolerance to overcome all challenges together.